People have this idea that once they find the right person, that love will come naturally to them. That all that matters is searching for the one. But this has destroyed so many men when it comes to relationships. If the person of your dreams came into your life right now, would you be ready for them? Would you be emotionally mature enough for them? Would you have the right lifestyle for each other? Would you two be building towards a future that both of you want? These are questions that all of us need to ask, but none of us ever do. So many of us get caught up daydreaming about love without ever creating a life where love can grow. There's a reason why the love that you want never comes to you. I've wasted years of my life trying to find love, getting caught up in relationships that have physically and mentally destroyed me. And I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. Before we can talk about building love, we have to realize why we are so obsessed and honestly get stuck in the act of finding love in the first place. How many hours, days, years have you wasted stuck in a purgatory with dating apps? Always looking for a partner, but never finding the right one. And even if you did get into a relationship, something about it always felt off, like they weren't the right person for you or you weren't the right person for them. When this happens, this makes us think that maybe the love we want just isn't real. We start to accept the fact that maybe love isn't a game for us that we can win. We think that we'll either be in a mid-relationship that isn't right for us for the rest of our lives, or that we'll always be alone. But this doesn't have to be true. Most of us are looking for an ideal partner when we haven't done anything to be the man that would be ready for them. This was me for nearly my whole life. I told myself I wanted this perfect girl who is kind, smart, loyal, secure, and would respect me for the man that I was. But I was nothing like the man she would need. In fact, I was honestly the opposite. I was codependent, constantly worrying. I had no pride in myself, and I was insecure about everything. I was literally double texting every girl I liked, hoping that she would respond to me after leaving me on red. But this only drained me, and I got tired of the constant rejection and never feeling like I was enough for love. I couldn't change how girls would react to me, but I realized that I could change myself. I could change how I felt about myself. It took me 10 years to realize that if I really wanted to find the love that supported me rather than drained me, I had to make myself ready for it. I had to change a lot if I wanted to attract the girl that I wanted. And so I literally decided to figure out exactly what kind of girl I wanted. What kind of values would she have? The culture she was from? What would our future look like? I wrote down everything that I wanted, and then I flipped it on myself and asked, what kind of man would a girl like this want? It made me realize how messed up I had been looking at love this entire time. I was constantly looking for love without ever becoming the man capable of returning that love I wanted a woman to give me. But here's the thing. The moment you realize how much work you have to put in to genuinely change your entire identity to becoming someone stronger, kinder, and more responsible, you see how far your goal truly is. When this happened to me, I thought that the gap between who I was and who I wanted to be was too big for me to ever truly change, that I was destined to be messed up and never find love. I wish I knew this earlier, but all that time I spent feeling self-pity about myself and depressed about how pathetic I was, how alone I was, that was just a complete waste of time that didn't help me at all. All that time and energy would have just been better spent focusing on what was in my control, taking one step forward to becoming a man I could be proud of. The biggest idea that destroyed me when it came to looking for love was I was looking for love when I was needy. I was doing it from a place of not feeling like I was enough, and it always felt like I needed someone else to pour their love, their energy, to make me feel like I was a complete person. And this seems like such an obvious thing, but you'd be surprised how many guys get caught up with the idea of chasing love and finding a partner when they themselves don't feel like they're enough for love in the first place. So of course that even if they do get into a relationship, it doesn't ever work out the way that we want it to. I didn't want to show who I really was, and that made me put on this persona, this identity of having everything together when I really didn't. And I was also afraid that they wouldn't like what they saw. This dishonesty caused for me to try to impress them, tell them so many lies, and just not have a sincere and genuine relationship, a connection. And if you think about it, love is an extension of friendships. We don't create friendships with people that we want to lie to all the time, that we want to be dishonest with. We want friends that we can be real with. Obviously, when it comes to romantic love, it's a different step than it is just platonic relationships with friends, but the principles should still be the same. But for some reason, when it comes to love, a lot of us men have this idea that we have to lie about it. And the real reason why is because we're honestly afraid of vulnerability. We're afraid of showing ourselves. And for good reason too, because if we show ourselves to the wrong person, it could destroy us. This happened to me more times than I can count, getting into the wrong relationship and showing myself and getting completely rejected over and over and over again. But the problem wasn't with being vulnerable. The problem was who I was being vulnerable with. That was one part of it. But the problem was the vulnerability that I was showing wasn't sincere. It was desperate vulnerability. It was like me throwing myself at them entirely and just begging them to accept me. Of course, that kind of vulnerability wouldn't work out. Now, building yourself up takes a lot of work. It takes true introspection and honestly a lot of time alone. At least for me, I realized that I couldn't work on myself and be in a relationship at the same time. I had to change myself in every way, physically and mentally. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like the way that I thought. And a lot of those things needed to be solved in the time alone, in the time where I could think clearly about the man that I was trying to become. And I was doing this with a lot of uncertainty because I was just lonely. What if I was putting in all of this work to becoming a better man, to be the type of guy that my ideal partner would want, but I still didn't find her? Or worse, I did find her and the relationship didn't work out, or she still rejected me the same way that all the other girls in my past did and leave me heartbroken. That thought really scared me. But I realized that going through this process of making myself better, making myself more emotionally mature, making myself less anxious, all of this work led to me becoming someone that I was proud of, that I was content with being alone with, that if I didn't find the person for me, I would still be okay. And that is honestly way better than the alternative, which was the complete anxious mess that I was as a kid, constantly hunting for love and needing validation. Because at the very least, I could be okay with being alone. That was when I met her. I met her on one of my solo travels when I least expected to find someone. As I got on the plane, I saw a beautiful girl sitting in the seat next to me. Before, I would have started panicking and overthinking everything I could say to a girl like her. But I had spent enough time working on myself that it came naturally to me to speak to her when the opportunity came up. I didn't talk with her with the intention of having a relationship at first, but just because I wanted to get to know her. I couldn't have done this just a few years ago because I would have been an anxious mess that was dependent on her liking me and giving me validation. But instead, I was focused on just getting to know her and seeing if we could be friends. As we spent more time together and got closer, the idea of loving her became more real. But even after all the work I had put in, I was still scared that loving her could leave me broken. That maybe I was just better off being alone. But even though I was afraid, I wanted to take the risk, and I'm glad that I did. Because without her, I wouldn't have grown into the man that I am today. We started dating at the end of our trip, hoping that our desire to be with each other would continue even when we got back home. Things haven't always been easy for us, and the relationship is far from perfect. But what works is that the two of us are always trying to grow together. Always focusing on making the relationship work instead of hurting each other. Finding someone like her felt impossible for me when I was in the basement, hoping the girls I liked would text me back. Being in a relationship and supporting her felt impossible when I was working every day on fixing all of my emotional attachment issues. But I realized that what makes this relationship work isn't just because I found the right person, but that I had become the right person for her as well. I'm able to emotionally regulate myself, be alone, and work on the relationship without needing her to validate me. All of these skills didn't come naturally to me at first, but I'm glad I worked on these things before I found the relationship so that I could be ready for the work I needed to put in to make this relationship the best that I can possibly make it. Deep down, I know that every guy wants love, that even the most cynical of us men have the desire to have someone love them for who they truly are. But what eventually happened is that some of us, most of us, got into relationships that completely emotionally, physically, and mentally destroyed us. That we put our hearts on the line and we got completely rejected. Whether we got friend zoned, whether we got dumped, a lot of it felt like we were being completely rejected for the person that we were. And it made us feel that the love that we wanted wasn't something that was worth the pain of getting that kind of heartbreak. I used to always identify as a hopeless romantic that saw love as this passion of mine that would leave me more heartbroken and destroyed than it did fulfill me. But when I changed the way that I approach love by first working on myself and building myself to have a life where I could welcome love, the relationship, the girl that I wanted, it made me realize that I had to deal with the idea that maybe all of this work wouldn't pay off. But during the process of making myself a better man, a man that I could be proud of, I realized that this was about me creating a version of myself that I could be proud of even without love. A lot of us go hunting for love because we think that if we just have someone else to validate us, praise us, that it will fill some hole in our hearts, that we won't feel lonely. But the truth is that you can feel lonely even surrounded by the closest people around you, and that's the exact same for being in a relationship. I have felt so lonely when I was chasing love in past relationships and girls that I was interested with, and the reason why was because I was so disconnected from myself. I was so disconnected from loving myself and having a life where honestly I was just proud of it. Going through this process won't guarantee love, but it does give you the hope that if love does find you one day, you will be a man that is ready to not only receive but also give back the love that you've wanted the world and for someone else to give you for so long.